I have built 4 companies from 0 to 7 figures in revenue. The number one thing I have learned is hard work does not cut it. I had to learn how to run a business in 2 to 3 hours of work per day. This led me to getting my first company to $1 million at the age of 25. Before we get into that, let's take it all the way back to the beginning. It was a decently warm day in the summer of 2019. I was driving home from my parents' cabin in Suncadia, Washington. And I was sitting in the car, and all of a sudden my vision went blurry and the world kind of closed in on me. My heart picked up and I started sweating, and I thought, I am dying. And for you guys that have experienced a panic attack, you know what this is like. And for you guys that haven't, I pray you never do. I didn't know what was going on. I got taken by ambulance to the hospital, and they did all kinds of tests on my heart, on my everything else they could do, and they sent me home. Again, I thought I was a panic attack. I'm like, cool, whatever. I'll reduce my stress levels. I'll get back to the grind. And I was building my first business at the time. So I left the hospital, and over the next 2 weeks, my body started to shut down. My legs went out. I had constant twitching, burning, cramping. My eyesight deteriorated to the point where I didn't feel comfortable driving. I had to move back home to my parents at 21 years old, you guys. And it set me all the way back, I felt like. My balance, I could barely stand. The pain level, internal burning, head pressure, migraines, nauseousness, everything you can think of started happening to my body, and I thought I was done. Most of you guys are going to have to go through a point where you feel like you're done or it's over, and you're going to have to come to accept and appreciate the fickleness of life and the opportunity we all have. It took 2 years to even get a diagnosis. Finally, this one nice doctor came into my yard or room and said, hey, Cole, I'm not really supposed to be telling you this, but Lyme disease is becoming more prevalent. We're learning more about it, and you have what we normally call a Lyme disease path of illness. And I got a test for Lyme disease. My numbers were off the chart. And shortly after that, I started treatment. I'm about 80% better today. But the reason I am telling you this story isn't because it's a sob story and I want your appreciation or I want your sympathy. I'm telling you the story for one reason, and that's I had to learn how to run a business and scale companies in 2 to 3 hours of work per day. And the number one thing I have learned is your inputs matter more than you think. Hard work does not cut it. And so this isn't a story of me telling you, work hard, work 12 hours a day, and you can do what I did. That's not true. Strategy is so much more important than you think. So all of this, you guys, led me to getting my first company to $1 million because I had to start hiring people. And before I got sick, I was never hiring people. Me and my partner, we were doing everything ourselves. We were wearing all the hats in the business. And our first company was a real estate wholesaling business. We were flipping and wholesaling properties in Seattle, Washington. Our second year, about 20 years old, we got it to 7 figures. We were doing everything. That's what led to a big part in my belief in me getting sick. And so me getting sick forced me to learn how to delegate and hire and train and manage. And then we got to $200,000 a month through that. And with that, you guys, came my second business. And in my second business from the get-go, I said, no, you know what? Not only do I have people that are running my first business, so I actually have the opportunity to do a second business, but I'm not going to do it that way anymore. I'm going to hire people from the get-go. And my second business was a call center. And so what we did is we went and we solved the need in our first company, our real estate company, which was we needed a bunch of leads. And because we needed a bunch of leads, I needed people to cold call for us. And so I went and built a call center in the Philippines. We got it to about 20 callers, and all my friends started to use it. And all of a sudden, we were doing 20, 30 grand a month in the call center business. And I said, that thing needs more attention. And so my real estate company was kind of running on autopilot, and I'd have made the hires now, learned the lessons from being sick, and I had gone now, and I'd started my second business, which was a call center. And this is the thing I want you guys to take from this video, is the amount of opportunity that's out there right now of going and hiring and training people overseas for $2 to $4 an hour on tasks that US-based companies need, and then selling them that service hourly. You can make millions of dollars even if you're 15 years old right now by doing this. And I'll explain more in a second. I want to get back to the story. So I partnered up with someone in the call center business, and our first year we did $1.2 million. And so now I'm 22 years old and I have 2 companies doing over 7 figures per year. But if you're watching this video and you're looking for a business to get into, the game you should be playing is global talent arbitrage and finding people around the world on Upwork.com, training them on a specific task, and then leasing them, so to speak, to US-based companies who need that work. So that was my first 2. The first 2 businesses led into what I call social media pop. Because I was crushing it in these 2 companies, I got invited on the biggest real estate podcast in the world at this time, Bigger Pockets podcast. I did episode 444 in Maui in Brandon Turner's Sea Shed with the 2 hosts, one of the only people to do the episodes in person, especially at Brandon's house. That episode got me notoriety across all platforms and brought legitimacy to what I do. And that started the third company I have that's 7 figures, which is a real estate consulting company. And what we do in that company, you guys, is we help real estate brokers, real estate agents learn the strategy we've used to find deals off market, to wholesale, flip, develop, or make as much money doing whatever they want to do with those properties that they do. The third one led into the fourth one. As my brand built, I started talking about my call center as well. And people started to come to me and say, hey, Cole, can you also teach me how to run a call center? Really what I'm doing is teaching people how to use overseas talent to start their own arbitrage business. And that business has gone on to do 7 figures as well. And so all of a sudden, sitting here at 25, I have 4 7-figure businesses. And the number one thing I want to tell you guys is golden object syndrome can kill you. What I mean by that is none of these companies I set out to do intentionally. They all led to one another naturally. Any other company I've started, you guys, has been like, oh, I want to try e-com. Oh, I want to try drop shipping. Oh, I want to try Forex, has failed. Okay. If it doesn't come naturally from my first core business, it's failed. So my wholesaling business led into flipping. My flipping led me to doing a lot of deals. I did deals with the right people. That led me to starting my call center because we needed leads. Those 2 things led me to getting on the biggest podcast in the world for real estate investors. That led into 2 coaching businesses. And that was all natural progression. And if you guys want to learn how to do that, you can go to callcashflow.com. Again, that's callcashflow.com. We teach you everything about how to start these remote overseas success centers, we call them, to service local companies and make insane money. As always, you guys, I'm going to teach you guys as much as I can for free on my page here on YouTube. So please subscribe, teaching people what I am learning while I'm running my companies.